Elkins presents the Elkins Accounting Hour with your host, Chad Elkins.
All right, Mr. Clary, how's it going?
It's going good. Did you notice the irony? Isn't it ironic that the Elkins Accounting Hour is hosted by someone who also has the name Chad Elkins? Is that interesting that the title of the show has someone hosted with the last name of the show? I think that's very coincidental.
It's uncanny. It's like
Yeah.
I go on Twitter and see all the flame wars and nobody's using their real name. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm jealous of that because I say something, everybody knows who I am, and same with you.
I think it does add credence. Well, it adds credibility, but I think it also helps that if you're a known person, I mean, there's drawbacks to it too, but I think when you use your actual name, face, people kind of trust you a little bit more. Do you remember not more than 2 years ago, all the bot Twitter Pakistani Indian accounts where they would take a picture of like a Greek statue or some kind of Roman emperor helmet or the face of a monkey, a silhouette of a gorilla. And like, take my Gumroad course on how to get bigger balls and be a man and or something like that. And those kind of went away. I kind of miss those.
Actually, before we get started, are you going to join this? I think it's called Blue Sky, like some kind of, have you heard of that?
It's the leftist alternative to Twitter because Twitter was leftist, then Elon bought it. Now it's just normal, but now the left can't handle. Twitter was censoring before. Now they're not. Leftists need their echo chamber, and they cannot tolerate someone that disagrees with them. So they're all going to go off to Blue Studio or Blue Sky. And no, I'm not going to go. I mean, I might go there to make a troll account, but why would I go to Blue Sky?
Oh, yeah, it was for that. I didn't know if you were going to go there to troll a little bit or whatever. I don't know.
I got shit to do. I don't have time to go troll leftists.
Real quick, this is a local Chicago brewery named Temperance, and this is an IPA called Gatecrasher, and it's 6.6%. I like it because I don't know if you can see, it says English style ale, so it's a little bit more bitter. It's got those English bitters, which I like. So I found it at the store, and I was like, oh, I got to drink that.
How many different? I mean, you're on the 74th episode here now?
Yeah, but that doesn't include the tax season ones I do. So it's probably like 113 or so.
Do you try to get a different beer each episode? Okay, so you could very well have tried over 100 beers.
Oh, easily, man. If you go back when we first started doing this, I've tried at least 100 beers on here.
If we were to remove the fake beers, and by fake beers, I mean the ones with peanut butter, what would be the real beer that is like the best one? Did you mark down the like what your favorites were?
I did. I don't know if you see this. I post that on Facebook sometimes. The one that I actually like the most, you wouldn't consider it a real beer because it's not that peanut butter stout I show you. It's a new one. It's that one that tasted like Golden Grams that I told you about a couple weeks ago. God, that's so freaking good. I can't help it. It's so good. It's just too.
Is it called Golden Grams beer, or do they say it like, oh yeah, there's Golden Graham flavor in the beer? It's meant to taste that way. All right.
It's called Fluffernutter. So it's supposed to be a peanut butter tasting golden stout. So it's not a dark beer. It's a golden beer, and it's supposed to be a stout. It just tastes like Golden Grams. I brought a bunch of them up here for whenever I'm around, so I have them. I can't get it up here.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad that that you're enjoying that.
Yeah. So I got a really good topic to go over on this stream. I think all you guys are going to like it. I'm going to show you a tax return and some things about this. A couple of things first. I did set one of those super chat goals. You haven't been able to do this yet?
No, I think it's a limited release. I looked into it, only selected channels. So you and Jack Napier have it. I do not. So maybe they're testing it on you guys, and maybe they'll roll it out, and then it'll become available to us commoners. But as of yet, I do not have that ability.
Okay. Well, I decided to I set a goal. If we get $10 or more super chats, I'm going to tell everybody in the chat what I told you right before we started.
It would be worth it's worth it. It's worth it. I normally don't like it when you get money, but this is worth it because can I whet the appetite of your audience?
Yeah.
It's about someone I despise and has every bad thing they deserve coming their way.
Yeah,
Good.
this is pretty pathetic. And I only found out about it late last night. That's why I was like, oh, perfect timing.
Yeah, no, dangle that leg in front of him, Chad. I for once, I'm like, what is your goal? What is it? 520s or what is?
$10 super chats. So we'll see if people can meet it. Great. If not, well, if I'm feeling generous, maybe I'll share it.
No, see, now you ruin it. Now people know you want to tell people, and now they're just gonna wait. See, you gotta say,
Ruined
I
it.
ain't saying. I'm tight-lipped. I'm not saying nothing.
You know what? Clary is right. He's the veteran when it comes to being a YouTuber, and I'm going to take his advice. So if we meet the goal, I'll tell you guys. If not, maybe we'll try next week.
Maybe next week. Yeah.
This is pretty funny though. All right, Clary, I think you really appreciate it when I identify the quote economic efficiency loss of the day.
I love the economic efficiency loss of the day. Yes.
This one involves two things. One, it involves the IRS, and two, it involves the candidate. Yeah, you're gonna like this one. You're gonna like this one. So okay, for reasons which I'm not going to get into, but it's not due to anything deadbeat. We couldn't file her tax return until October 15th, so kind of right at the last minute. And she didn't owe a lot. It was less than $200. It was something like, 180 or something. So that's no big deal. Usually the IRS doesn't care. Then she tells me that she got something in the mail the other day, and I am going to share it on the screen. I could not believe this, and this will probably drive you crazy. Share. You can't. I'll zoom up a little bit. It's probably hard for you to see it, but this is a CP14 notice. They're trying to charge her. Can you see the amount of interest?
$7.14.
$7.14. Do you not think that it costs the government more to print this, process it, mail it, and then process it when the quote payment gets there?
Yes.
Instead of just not sending this at all?
Yes.
Is this not, to me, this is a perfect example of
I have a feeling this was generated by a computer,
yes,
and there was no labor that went into it, and therefore you could maybe set a setting like anything under $10, don't send it out.
Yes.
But I believe that they aren't worried about that right now. This is truly an automatically generated thing, and the machine is doing the machine thing.
Right. And I'm saying I think that's bull crap. Illinois does this all the time. Okay, they'll send out interest for $5, $8, whatever. I get it because this is a broken, pathetic state. I understand that. I have never seen one like this that the IRS has sent. Like I've seen 20-something dollars. I've seen, $32, whatever, but $7.14. Like I'm tempted to tell her, just don't even pay the fucking thing.
Well, then she gets in the system as a delinquent, and then I would just pay. Here, I would pose to you, just pay the damn thing and not worry about it.
Yeah, she is. I don't know. To me, it just highlights everything wrong with the government. To me, it doesn't matter if it was automatically generated. This is not bringing in additional value compared to the cost.
I go way back to the origins of the problem. Why is there even an extension period? Like, why not just have a sales tax? Like, you wouldn't have communications between the IRS and the taxpayer because you wouldn't have to. How much you make would be irrelevant. That is not what what are you spending? That is what would be taxed, and it is an unrequired, unnecessary Gordian knot added. We don't need this complication, but man, Democrats just hate people who do better. Not even rich people. They just hate everyone else who does better than them. And by God, we got to tax their income. It's not, well, what if we just paid you more money? We had a simplified tax. This is what happens when you have a labyrinth of rules and laws. So no, yeah, you get to pay $7.14.
It's ridiculous. And by the way, I always say this, like people are like, well, don't you want them to keep the income tax because of your job? No, do a sales tax. I will be just fine. Please do a sales tax. So So yeah, that was the first thing. And then the other thing that I wanted to get your opinion on, just really quickly. So you know how I'm in the process of culling clients I don't want to work with anymore. Like I'm sending
Yes.
out
Well, you're in that
emails.
process always.
Well, I'm very much focused on it, like this week and next week, and even into next month. So for ones that I like, but they're just not, a good fit anymore, I always secure a referral for them.
Okay.
But then I got to thinking, there's a lot of them that I really don't like that much, just for
Yes.
a variety of reasons. And I want your opinion. Do you feel it's the right thing to do to still give them a referral, or should I just be like, nope, can't help you anymore. Good
Do
luck.
you need any fiduciary responsibility that you
No,
have to give them a
no,
referral? Do you
no,
have
no,
to
no,
let
no,
them
no,
know? Do you have
no.
to let them know that you will not be taking them as a client next year?
Well, yes, but that's me telling them that they're no longer my client. That's the only notice I need to give, because you remember how when you sign your paperwork, when we do your returns, there's an engagement letter.
Yeah.
It spells out very carefully. And listen to this, those of you that want to get in the industry, make sure you spell out very specifically, like this, you are only covered by me working on, an X year tax return. This does not count for anything past this period. So should
Okay.
I? So that's why I thought. Do you think I should try setting him up, or if I don't
No.
like him, no?
No. I'm going to assume that you don't like them for legitimate reasons, not that they have blue
Yes.
eyes or they're
Yeah.
left-handed. I think that people who run afoul of hardworking, ethical people need to be, at minimum, uninvested in, non-reciprocated, and I would even say ostracized and punished. If you're going, I do recall you didn't take her as a client, but she wanted you as a client. She wanted to hire you, but then you
Yeah.
found out she's like, white men suck at da 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 da
Yeah.
da. And then she
Yeah.
says, well, not you, but fuck that bitch. Like, those people need to get punished. Now, I'm not saying for political reasons, but if they're unprofessional, they're whiny, they're late, whatever, I'm going to assume that you are a good judge of that. And no, I don't think I would not set them up with. Does finding a referral take time, Chad?
It does take time. Yeah.
Now, would it be worth your time to refer them and get the kickback though?
That depends. If I have a relationship with somebody I'm going to refer them to in that regard, then yes. But some of them are so bad and I'm so sick of them. And by the way, the results of this election brought a lot of it out.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
That I don't really want to give them to anybody. I don't want to impose them on, people I
Yeah,
actually
no, I
like.
would no. Well, see, and then you got here's on the counter side of that, this another ethical consideration of this debate. Do you want to send bad clients to a colleague
No.
of yours? See, and that's
Right.
no, you can't. No, unless you warned them heads up, like, hey, this is a problem client. I don't think I would.
I don't think I'm going to.
Yeah.
I was feeling a little bit bad about it earlier this week, and then I'm just like,
No.
I really am not responsible for this.
Let me ask you this: is bad Chad ever bad enough? In my opinion,
I think I could stand to be a little bit more bad each and every year that
I'll let you know when you become too bad. And you're still a little ways away from. I know it's like, oh my God, I can't believe Chad did that. Holy shit, we got to reel him in. You have more runway to go down until you hit optimal bad.
It's so funny because then I talk to my dad. I tell him the stuff I do, and he's like, "How could you treat them that way?" I'm like, "Well, because they suck."
Well, he's a left-leaning CPA. Send him to him.
He's
Say, hey, Dad. He's retired.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nick, I should send him to H&R Block. Maybe I'll just do that. I'll be like, the H&R Block closest to you is here.
Would they be able to handle it though?
They'd have some problems, but they should be able to handle it.
Okay, well, there you go. Say,
yeah.
I'm going a different direction, whatever else, blah, blah, blah. And then, nope, I'm done. What will happen, it's not political. It really isn't. Unacceptable clients and unacceptable behavior needs to, that'd be great.
Right.
That'd be great.
He's a YouTuber. He doesn't do taxes anymore.
Yeah. Unacceptable client behavior, like disrespecting the wait staff or whatever else, that needs to be punished. And that the same goes for in the accounting industry. So if you're going to be an asshole to your CPA, don't expect your CPA to be around.
Okay, this is helpful. I was leaning towards that, but it feels validating to hear it. So,
do you need me to turn on the spigot to find you more clients?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
So you're saying there's not a shortage?
Oh my goodness. The attitude for people that don't understand the conditions in the industry, when they start making demands or bitching about fees or just being a general pain in the ass, they just have no idea how hard it is going to be for them to.
Yeah, just leave them, say goodbye. Now, do you keep a list of previous clients so if they ever come back groveling, you can charge them an arm and a frick? Good.
Japanese
All right.
refusal.
Japanese refusal.
Japanese
Yep.
refusal.
There you go. I wouldn't even explain anything. Say why. Just I'm too busy and going a different direction. Want to scale back.
That's
all
what
you
I've
have
been
to tell
telling
them.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they come back, well, I really don't want to do any more work, but if you want me to do it, it's going to be $2,500. Well, I told you I didn't want to do it.
This is a good segue because the reason I'm bringing up clients, which I really don't want to hold on to anymore, I posted this. I sent this to you and everybody else, and I posted it on my community part of the channel or whatever. After the results of that election a couple weeks ago, like the following week, I got just all these emails from people that are like, "We don't want to stay in the country anymore."
What, really?
Yeah. I thought
this was no, I didn't have time. I thought this was going to come from the conservative or libertarian side. Like, I'm sick and tired. So it's I guess, yeah, the election. So now you have a bunch of Democrat leaning folk that want to leave the country.
Yeah. And I got a bunch of these, but this is the one that, this is the perfect example of it. They go,
I think I got this one.
Yeah, I sent this one to you. But basically, this person just says, given the recent election results, spouse and I are seriously considering the possibility of moving abroad in the summer of 2026 and then they named a few countries as our current options. We're reaching out to get a sense of the tax implications involved. And so I was like, well, yeah, go ahead.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
The guy who got elected, at least on paper, would be for less taxes.
Yes.
They are worried. They want to move because the guy who's for less taxes got elected. But then they're worried about the taxes if they move out of the country. You see the contradiction?
I guess what disappointed, if I got one or two of these types of emails, that's fine. I got like 10 or 12 of them. It's like, what's wrong with people around here? Like,
they're not smart people, at least in realms of economics. It's like, okay, so you're worried about the tax implications of moving overseas, but the guy who got elected is the one who's likely going to lower your taxes. What?
I don't understand. I think they were just watching too much, I don't know, MSNBC or CNN, where, this is the worst thing ever that, Orange Man won, life is over as we know it,
Everyone under, I'd say 60 have been watching way too much mainstream media for the past 50 years.
Agreed.
I really, because the stuff that Trump advocated or did is nowhere near as bad. And I mean, it doesn't match. I mean, there were people I remember saying, I'm worried about the lives of my friends. Like, Trump isn't sending out death squads. Where did you get this? What? So, yeah, I think they have been brainwashed or propagandized. Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember, I'm barely up here anymore. I'm usually down south where this is a non-issue. So, yeah, I was taken aback by it. I'm like, are you guys serious? So,
well, I have a question with all of them. Was it about taxes? Was that their main concern, or was it more like I'm moving? So I know there's a finer differentiation. Are they worried about income taxes overall, or just what are the added complications of taxes I'm going to have to face in terms of paperwork? Because that might make sense.
It's the latter, but here's the thing. What's frustrating is that it was all because of the result of that election. They're like, oh, I want to move overseas. And that's the part that just didn't jive with me. First of all, they all said that, 8 years ago, and not a single one of them left. And second of all, without getting too far into details, I have my niche. This niche, I don't believe that can be legally done if they move abroad,
right?
Because they are licenses involved, in the US. So yeah, it was just, I think people were just being overly emotional about it. But the upshot is that at least gave me an idea to talk about, some of the tax implications if you want to become an expat.
Interesting. What, so I know there was one we were chit-chatting with, but you need to have an expertise in international taxation.
Oh yeah, I'm going to go over that right now.
And you're not the guy, so you'd have to outsource it to the expert. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So that, and you're right. I'm going to lead with that disclaimer. I do not work with expat clients because it is such a pain in the ass to deal with their tax filings. Now, I'm going to explain a lot more about this, and you're even going to see a couple of forms. But having said that, like you just said, this is a severely underserved area, and there's already a shortage in our field. Like almost nobody wants to do this. So if any of you young whippersnappers want to go out on your own and you want to find a niche with expat tax accounting, this could be a gold mine. Just watch this stream first. You can see some of the things that are involved with it if you want to do it. So, because remember, Claire, you were even asking me a while back, you're like, well, what if I moved abroad? What are the implications? And I think the first thing I said to you was, I don't think I could be your guy anymore. You know,
right. No, I had to go. Yeah. No, that's what you said. I had to go find a specialist. And I was like, okay, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And even those specialists are hard to find. But so having said that, I want to first explain a few things that people need to know about being an American citizen and then becoming an expat, moving abroad. Okay. First of all, the U.S. taxes its citizens on worldwide income, regardless of where that income is earned. They are only one of three in total countries that does this. No other. One? There's a new one that's kind of half in, half out.
Okay, so Eritrea is the second one. Yeah, what's the third one?
I looked this up, and I could be wrong, but apparently Hungary is now doing this, but there's some caveats. Like they're not doing it on all your income. It's just like certain income.
Yeah, okay.
But everybody else who is not a citizen of one of those countries does not have to worry about it. So it's just US of A and then the shittiest country in Africa. And yeah, Hungary. So that's the first thing. And the second thing, because I did get this question a couple times last week as well, and the week before. Clary, have you ever looked up what you need to do to officially renounce your United States citizenship? So
well, you got to pay a third net worth, right? There's a third net. No, there's not an exit tax.
No. Now this is well, there is, but
all right.
This is what I found, and it's a little bit. There were all kinds of different. There seems to be a lack of agreement on this, but I'll tell you what I think is correct with this.
Okay, I imagine you have to make some kind of declaration to the federal government and sign a form that rescinds your U.S. citizenship, and you officially declare yourself no longer a citizen. I'd imagine there's paperwork, a form, and a declaration you sign. Yes.
Basically, so you have to appear in person, either at a U.S. embassy or a consulate if you are abroad. And this is important. You have to be officially caught up with all of your current tax filings.
Okay, there's that too. Yep.
Yeah, people think, oh, I could just, not pay. It's like, it's not that easy. You have to complete 2 different interviews with the U.S. consular officer. So you're right. You have to, speak to some government official. You have to pay a non-refundable fee. How much do you think that fee is, if you had to guess?
To sit with the ambassador or the consular or whatever it is?
No, just as not that part, just as part of like, I'm no longer a citizen. Great. You owe, in addition to any taxes,
$1,500 for the processing fee.
$2,350.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And that used to be like 10 years ago, that was way lower. I think it was only like a couple $100. So, I mean, the government's catching on that people don't want to pay taxes anymore. And it's like you said, you have to take the oath of renunciation in front of a consular officer.
All right.
Yeah. So that's it. Because I did get in those emails I mentioned, I got a couple of questions. Well, what if I just don't want to be a U.S. citizen anymore? I go, well, here you go. So having said all that, let's say that Clary wants to leave it all behind. He doesn't want to give up his citizenship, but he wants to move to, I don't know, Estonia or some
Croatian hut. Let's go with the Croatian hut on the Adriatic. Yes.
Adriatic. Okay. So there's some good elements of expat taxation I'm going to talk about, and there's some bad elements. Okay. And I'm going to start with the good. We're going to be optimists. Clary, have you ever heard of the foreign earned income exclusion concept?
Up to $112,000 per year?
120. Yeah.
I apologize. I was like 7% off on that.
Well, it goes up every year, so that's good.
120,000, you don't pay no taxes on it.
Correct. And it's actually for 2024, it went up to 126,500. So, they are
All right.
at least keeping up with
Our
inflation.
friend Dre is happy.
Yeah, he's probably very happy from what he sends me on Instagram. So to get a little bit technical about this, there's two ways that you can qualify for this. There's the bona fide residence test or the physical presence test. I'll talk about those in a second.
All right.
And the other good news is that if you're married, like say you get married to the GF, this actually doubles. So if we use 2024 numbers, you could exclude as much as $253,000. So that's good news. So the bona fide residence test with this is you have to prove that you have more ties to a foreign country than the US, and you must be a resident of that country for an uninterrupted period that includes an entire year. So what that means is, let's say that you're put on an assignment, like, you get a work visa to go to Croatia. For some kind of engagement for
building huts.
Building huts.
Hut builder Cappy. Right. Okay, I'm here.
Yeah. So if you still own a home in the United States and, you're still working for a U.S. company and, you have a temporary visa and you're fully intending on coming back to the U.S., you actually don't qualify under this bona fide residence test. So that's sort of the thing. However, there's also the physical presence test, and this one's a little bit better and more clear cut. And to qualify under this, you must have been living outside of the U.S. for 330 full days out of the year. And if you do the math, that's 11 out of 12 months. Okay. Right. The reason this is critical is because if you decide you're going to come back to the U.S. to visit your folks or somebody for a few weeks, you cannot stay here longer than 30 days. Because if you do, you lose that part of the physical presence.
That happened to a guy in Minnesota.
You did?
He flew back. He's claimed to be a Florida resident. He was at the airport. He was going to make it. And guess what happened?
His flight got
delayed. Spent an extra day in it. Then he owed a bunch of tax. Yep. All right. So it's kind of the same thing.
Kind of the same deal. Yeah. So, Clara, if you wanted to look at my tax program and be reacquainted with Atham Clary, this is your lucky day.
Oh boy, I love Atham Clary.
Atham Clary. Now pay attention, folks. This is why this is such a pain in the ass. You know what? I can probably get us out of the way just so people can see this. So first thing is first, that FEIE, the foreign income exclusion, it goes on this form right here, which you can see is the form 2555. First thing I want to say about this is, for the purposes of me walking you through this, I am simplifying this like 1,000 times easier than it would be in real life. Okay, this is just so you can see what it's like, and so we can go over it quickly on the stream.
Right.
So I pre-populated a lot of this. So Atham Clary has moved to 3434 in London, United Kingdom. We see his occupation as an asshole, and this is what you have to do.
What's my employer? Dildo Incorporated? What's that?
Yeah, Dildos Inc. You are so Atham Clary is an asshole who works for Dildo Inc. and he's been transferred to the London office to be amongst those British guys.
Sure.
So watch this. Let's say they're paying you $160,000 a year. Okay.
Right.
Now let's say that as part of your taxes withheld on the W-2, it's 15,000 taxes withheld. All right. That's what we say. So I don't know if you can see this in the upper right corner here. It says that you would owe $4,721 to the IRS. Under this. However, if you use the FEIE form, the 2555, you select this box to take it to the 2555. So we go to this form. All right. And then what we do, you have the option of filling out either part 2 or part 3. Part 2 is that bona fide residence test. This thing is such a pain in the dick to do that I didn't even bother. We're going to do part 3, which is that the other one, the physical presence test, because just easier. I already did this legwork. I said that you got there, late December 2022, and you were there all the way to the end of 2023, which is what, 1 year, right?
That's 1 year minus 15 days. Yes.
Yeah, or a little bit more. Yeah. And you can't see it, but I had to enter that you did not visit the U.S. or any other place for longer than 30 days in this time period. All right. So let me show you what happens when you properly fill out this form. So you go to the income allocation tab. We're going to say, I'm not going to explain this. There's so much to talk about here. I'm just not going to do
Right.
it.
Lots of
Remember,
tedium. All right.
yes. Yeah. So we select this, and I don't know if you can see it. Did you see what happened here? You see how
You
you
selected.
were.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get back to the form. So because we properly filled out this form, we now show, and I'll go to the 1040. We now show that
14,000 refund.
Yeah, or 12,294. And the reason we did that is because
my income is excluded to 120,000.
Yeah, as you can see right here, foreigner and income exclusion.
I went to the Carlson School of Management. I'll have you know. I mean, I don't need this much hand holding. I mean,
again, folks, I'm like really simplifying this because normally this is a huge pain in the ass. So, but the long and short of it is this is good. Like, this is the good part of being an expat. Okay. There is another good part of being an expat. Now, Clary, have you ever heard of the foreign tax credit?
No.
Okay. So what that is, the foreign tax credit, it's basically if you don't qualify under this FEIE, you know, excluding the 120, you can at least get credit for the taxes that you had to pay to the host country. Because, you know, the U.S. is not going to...
Oh, like a tax treaty, kind of a reciprocity. Yeah. If you pay it into Italy, you don't have to pay the U.S.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And the real good thing about this one, the foreign tax credit, is that you don't have to qualify under that bona fide residence test or that physical presence test. So even if you're there just for like 6 months, even though you can't do the FEIE, you can still do the foreign tax credit. Okay.
All right.
And you have to choose one or the other. All right. You cannot do both. And get this. If you first claim that foreign earned income exclusion and then you switch to a foreign tax credit during the following year,
I got to pay the difference from the previous year?
No, however, you cannot declare the foreign earned income exclusion for another 5 years. So you have to be very strategic with this. You can't start with FEIE and then go to foreign tax credit, and you can't switch back and forth like that.
Very interesting.
Yeah. That even threw me for a loop. I didn't really know that. So anyway, I would like to introduce you to another form here. Let me just let me cancel out the 2555 here so you can see how this works. So let me get this to blank. So you were back to owing $4,721 based on an income of $160,000. All right. I'd like to introduce you to this form. This is the foreign tax credit, which is 1116. Look at the freaking pain in the ass of this form. This form sucks. I hate this form. There is so much information you have to put on here. And again, I've pre-populated it so you can see how it works. But this is what you would have to do. So you go to the income tab. We say that you're in the United Kingdom. We're talking about wages. Okay. And then you go to the detail tab here, UK wages. And so, see, you made $160,000, right? That's what we said?
Yes, that's what you said.
Yeah.
I'm doing better than Atham Clary's doing better than me.
Atham Clary is doing amazing. So you have to put general limitation here. It's just a rule. And then watch this. Let's say that you had to pay the equivalent of $10,000 in tax to the UK, you know, during your time over there in the dildo company. And so, so if you do that, watch what happens. Now you're getting instead of owing that $4,700, you're getting a refund of $5,279. And you can see this. Yeah. So you see this big foreign tax credit here.
Right.
10,000. So yeah, as you can see, it's not as good as the FEIE because, you know, you can only get that credit for tax you paid, but it's still pretty good. And the vast majority of people will qualify for this one and not that first one. So yeah. So those are the two good aspects. And the only other thing
just so you have an expat, you're just working overseas.
Well,
you didn't renounce your citizenship at all or nothing. This is
right. Yeah. The renouncing citizenship, I only threw that one in there because I get that question a lot. I'm like, well, what if I just say I'm not a citizen anymore? And I have to say, well, there's a lot of conditions for that, including money you have to pay. So yeah, but just to go back on something that I mentioned earlier, remember, you have to make a choice between these two. Okay. How do you choose? Well, assuming you qualify for both, the FEIE is better for those who have lower incomes, right? Because of that
Right.
$126,000, maximum. So it's pretty cut and dry. The FEIE is also better for those who are in countries that have lower tax rates, because if you're paying less tax to, a foreign country, you get less of a credit. So screw that. You want to do the FEIE.
Right.
So the FEIE is actually ideal for people who are independent contractors or freelancers, because they get to control how much money they make. So, I can just say, hey, Clary, I've moved abroad. My net income, I'm going to keep it at $126,000 a year.
No, that's
and,
what I get a kick out of is like people with lower incomes, like 126,000. That's a pretty, the vast majority of your audience is going to fall under that. They'd be perfectly happy with that.
Right. And so I think it's a very fair option. You just have to make sure you qualify for it. Now, let me ask you this, Clary. Do you think people who fill out these forms, especially the 2555, you think maybe they may be subject to some higher audit rates?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably one of the first things they go for.
Yes. So I had to throw that in. So, well, what I just went through, that's all the good parts, the credits, the reduction of income. But Clary, I got some bad stuff that goes along with this too, that I would like to share with you. Now, some of this you might know as a former bank. Well, no, you quit banking by the time this all came about.
It's been a long time. You and I were young men when I quit banking.
Well, let me at least ask, have you ever heard of the Bank Secrecy Act before?
Yeah, I've heard FACTA.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is number one on my list.
I was around for that. I remember.
You were around for that?
Yeah, I was around for that. Yeah.
Well, before I go into it, what do you know about it? Like, what do you remember? Anything?
I remember, the only thing I remember about FACTA, because it really didn't affect the banks I worked at, because they were too small fry and nobody made money. The one thing I remember about FACTA is that it is a way for the federal government to get foreign banks to essentially give the government, the federal government, your money if it's in a foreign bank account as an enforcement mechanism for you ostensibly committing crimes of tax evasion, tax fraud, or terrorism and money laundering type of things. I think it is, well, what it is effectively is the way you say, well, how can the U.S. government force a bank, say, in Croatia to do that? Because the Croatian government might be holding on to U.S. savings bonds, of which the federal government says, we're not paying the interest on the QSIP numbers of those savings bonds or government bonds unless you pay us. And so if a bank doesn't have U.S. bonds in their balance sheet, it's kind of ineffectual. And then it's up to whether that government, like the Croatian government, would bend to the will of the U.S. government pressure. But that is like, this is why your Hong Kong, Shanghai, Bank of London, large established foreign banks then effectively come under the control of the U.S. and have to obey them. And their requests. So it is on paper and not irrationally so a way to fight terrorism, money laundering, tax evasion, but it is also for the federal government to go after people like, I'm not part of you anymore. Goodbye.
It was really starting in 2014 where this became like a real thing as far as what you report on a tax return. I'm going to show you the form for that. But yeah, you pretty much nailed it. Like the government got so tired of people like hiding their money and their assets in foreign banks. And so they basically mandated with these countries and with its citizens, it's like, you have to report your assets from these banks. So as you can imagine, if you are in Croatia building huts, you probably have to open up a bank account in Croatia, right?
Right.
So you are going to be subject to this. And I'm going to tell you and everybody else what's involved with this. So a component of FATCA, FATCA stands for Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, what we were just talking about. That's where the Bank Secrecy Act came in. And a component of FATCA is FBAR reporting. And FBAR stands for Foreign Bank and Financial Accounts. It's also called FinCEN Form 114. And do you know what FinCEN stands for?
Financial Crime Enforcement Network?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's what it is. So you got all these alphabet soup.
Carlson School of Management, Chad. I know everything.
How are
I
you
know
not a
everything.
billionaire at this point?
Because I went to the Carlson School of Management. You will not be successful if you went to the Carlson School of Management.
Well, you're gonna like this. You remember how we did that stream about the BOI reporting that new thing, the beneficial ownership information?
Yeah, that was FinCEN.
I did a whole, that was FinCEN, and I wanted to show you this because I didn't realize. Remember, I don't work with people who have foreign accounts. Like I don't deal with this stuff. So I went to go investigate this. Check this out. Let me show you the screen.
Is this something they came out with recently or what?
It's basically something I didn't know they were doing it this way. The two are on top of each other on the same site. So you can do your BOI e-filing and you can do your Bank Secrecy Act e-filing both on the same
site.
On the same site. Yeah. So that was new for me. I didn't realize that they had done that. But yeah. And we're obviously not going to go through what's involved with creating this report online, but I assure you it is a pain in the fucking ass. Okay?
How many pages to fill out a BSA? Because the BOI wasn't all that difficult.
Oh, no. Compared to the BOI was nothing. The BOI took you what, 5-10 minutes?
If that,
This can take you hours. And I'm gonna give you a visual of this because there's actually a form on the 1040 that you have to fill out too. And this is the worst fucking form. It's called form. Oh, by the way, so this FATCA thing, Bank Secrecy Act, all that is due by April 15th every year. So it's similar to, regular tax return date.
Wait, the BOI is it every year or is this form?
Oh, no, not the BOI.
Okay,
this one, the Bank Secrecy Act filing,
okay,
the FinCEN FATCA. Yeah, you're fine with the BOI unless you change your address or something. You're good.
All right.
Yeah. And for those that aren't sure, go look back at the stream we did in July about this. It's valuable. So I would like to introduce you and everybody else who thinks that they want to go into expat accounting to form 8938.
8938.
I hate this form. This is actually what led me to stop, just completely eliminate the possibility of ever doing this type of work ever again. So do you see there, it says statement of specified foreign financial assets. You see that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Not only do you have to get all of this information completely accurate because it's subject to really, really high audit rates, just like all of this foreign stuff, you have to complete this every single year. Okay.
Right.
Now, Clary, let's pretend that you moved to Croatia. You've got a couple of bank accounts, that are Croatian with money in them. Let's say you buy a condo, maybe you buy some land, maybe you get some Croatian dividends, maybe you get some gold. You have to put every single bit of that on this form, and you have to do it every year. You have to value it properly, and it does get looked at. And we're going to fill it out real quick here.
It looks like it's only 2 pages though.
Oh, it looks like that, but so this is like, I'm going to fill out this part. That's how you make an entry. The typical 8938 that I've done has like 11 or 12 of these lines. So it turns it into about a 10-page document at the end of the day. Because remember, you have to put everything.
So each account creates a record.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay. So let's pretend like you open up a bank account. Well, in this example, you're in the UK. So for your dildo company, you had account number that. And so the next thing is it's a deposit account. We'll say that the maximum value of the account during the year. Remember, just because it's in British pounds, it doesn't get you off the hook. You have to figure out what the maximum value in dollars
is. Yeah.
So we'll say $50,000. You get this wrong, they're going to find out, and you're going to get a letter. Foreign currency, we'll just say British pounds.
All right.
Okay. Foreign currency exchange rate. You have to look that up, and there's the IRS webpage that gives you a suggested rate, but it's not always accurate. But for this, what do we think that we'll say 0.85? I don't know what the conversion is. Yeah. So you say that name of the. So here's where the shit gets really frustrating because there's people that are in like Dubai, Hong Kong, Japan, you have to put the name of the bank, and you need all of the bank's details. So for this, I'll just say, Bank of London.
All right.
You have to find out what their GI, the Global Intermediary Identification Number,
Kind of their QSIB number or their your routing number, bank routing number. All right.
Yes, and you would have to you would think this would be easy and straightforward to find. I assure you, it is not, and the institutions make it quite difficult to get this because they have no incentive to try to help.
No, this is overhead for them.
And look at this. Now we have to find the mailing address for the headquarters of whatever bank this is, and and if it doesn't match up with what the IRS has, you might get flagged. So let's just make up an address. I don't know, 69 Soccer Hooligan Avenue. So you have to put that in.
Right.
You have to, whatever, London. You have to put the province. Try finding foreign provinces. It's a
no, they don't have provinces. Yeah.
Then you got to find the zip. They don't have conventional zip codes, so we'll just put that. Obviously, you put the country. Let's put UK. I want to stress that it looks like this is really easy, but it's not. I'm making up this information.
You're spending 5 minutes looking for each box of information, so already we're at an hour.
Yes, and you have to do this every single year. You're abroad like that.
Every single account.
Every single account, every piece of property. If you have a few dollars worth of gold, you have to give that information if it's held overseas, in one of these banks.
Mm-hmm.
If you invested in something that gives you dividends, you have to get all of that information. And because these are subjects to such scrutiny, such high audit rates, you can't fuck up with this. It's a lot of pressure. And you were saying it's just 2 pages. This is just the one entry we did. Imagine 10 to 12 pages of that and the time it takes to research that.
No, I mean, after a while, you got to be making a serious amount of money for this to even make sense.
Exactly. So, that's the whole shebang with all of this FinCEN, this FBAR, Form 8938. Do you get a sense why I and many of my other colleagues, we have plenty of business domestically dealing with, small businesses? Can you see why most of us just don't want to deal with this type of crap?
You need more volume. I mean, this is why you're going to be probably paying, no joke, thousands of dollars an hour for specialists, because they got to, fine. It only takes them 2 hours, but they don't get that many clients, I'd imagine.
Right.
You could probably have thousands of clients doing taxes every year, regular old 1040s. But there's such a few percentage of the population that's going to be subject to FACTA that I'm sure they don't get the volume. And it's tedious, so they're going to charge more.
Oh, I cannot tell you how tedious this was. Because I started out, back in 2014, 15, 16, I was accepting everybody and I was doing a lot of these. And then when I would try to bill people for how much time this took, I'm not paying that. It couldn't have been that hard. And I'm just like, you know what? This isn't worth it. You guys aren't worth it. Plus, there's time zone differences. I had to try calling up some of these banks for information, especially that GI number. They didn't speak English.
No, I can imagine.
It's just awful. So that is the bad part, the FBAR 8938. Before I finish off, and then we'll get to super chats, there is one little thing that people almost always forget when they are going to become expats, okay? We've only been discussing federal taxes. Do you think maybe we're missing something?
Yes. Minnesota wants its taxes. Illinois wants its taxes.
Illinois definitely wants its taxes. Mm-hmm. Here's where people almost always fuck this up, if they're not talking to a CPA or somebody who knows what they're doing. The issue is that the expats have to take proactive steps to break their state residency if they are in a really nasty tax state. Okay.
Right.
So if I live in California and I'm going to, go abroad and I'm just gonna be like, I'll take the foreign earned income exclusion. I'm going to know what taxes. California says, no, you still have to pay taxes on that $160,000 that you earned at the dildo shop.
All right. I see.
Yeah. And people just don't know this. And it's one of those things where the state that you have your driver's license in you're paying taxes to that state. It doesn't matter if you don't live there. Like, you have to have a state. As an American citizen, you have to be tied to some state.
Okay.
It always goes under the radar.
So a logical solution to this, tell me if you'd recommend it, is before you go overseas, change your residence.
Yes. Yeah, I was just going to say.
Go to South Dakota or Florida or Texas, and then you don't have to worry about this.
Right. You want to be tied. You want to be tied to Nevada. Okay. What states do you want to get a driver's license in before you go abroad?
Okay, you could do Alaska, New Hampshire, Wyoming, South Dakota, Tennessee, Nevada, and Florida and Texas.
Did you say Washington?
Washington State. You're right.
Yeah.
I did not say Washington. Yes, Washington. Okay.
Yeah, that was the last one.
That was the other one. Yeah.
So people are like, well, I can't do this. I don't own property in this state. That is not true. You can get a virtual address. Now, it might be a pain because you have to go to that state, get a driver's license, set everything up so that you're in a tax-friendly state. Then you get out of Dodge, and that's that.
Yep. You tell Gavin Newsom to go fuck a cactus.
Did you see he bought a $9 million mansion the other day?
I'm sure he did. I mean, that guy I don't think he believes half the shit he claims to vote for. I think I don't think he is a rich trust fund baby.
Of course he is.
And he's handsome. He's got hair, and Californians vote for him. And he laughs all the way to the bank because he has way more money than what he's being paid as governor.
Oh yeah.
He's just a bored little child. That's what it is.
Yeah. Hopefully he's not the next president of the United States.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
So last point about the states, you may have to split the first year you're abroad, you may have to split your taxes up between states. You might owe the first year, but as long as you do this correctly, you don't have to pay state taxes.
If you got a contract to work overseas, I mean, almost the first thing you would do if you're living is you would go get the hell out, go get a PO box, get your license, then sign all the documentation.
Yeah.
Before you sign up for that. But yeah, I would definitely be getting out of the tax states.
It's the license and registering as a voter in that state that'll really get you off the hook. So again, if one of you guys wants to do international tax planning or do these awful forms that I was showing you, then yeah, there could be a gold mine for it. So a few conclusions just before we get to the super chats here. So just remember, if you do plan to, quote, leave the country, because of election results or, some other reasons, maybe you want to be a passport bro. Remember, you still have to file a U.S. tax return every single year. Even if you don't set foot in the United States, as long as you're a citizen, you still have to file that tax return. Okay. And as I've shown you, the substantial regulatory burden is going to cause you a lot of headaches, with the U.S. government, and be aware that your returns that do get filed are going to be subject to much higher audit scrutiny, especially if you complete that form 2555, that FEIE. Like, they look at that with a magnifying glass. And like I said, you really have to do some careful planning as far as the state tax considerations go, because for some reason, this always slips people's mind. So I'm telling you, don't forget about that. Okay?
I rarely go on the side of the IRS, but with $126,000 income exclusion, like, you can make $126,000. You're gonna have to be trying real hard to fuck this up. Like, that's pretty generous. I mean, so there's that. But here, Chad, what would help everyone, whether they're going overseas or living domestically, when it comes to doing their taxes, what can they do that will prevent any problems with the IRS from happening?
Well, you want to consult with a CPA, but there's also, are we speaking of a course? Is that something?
No, not a course. No, I'm talking about a very simple rule you can follow that will guarantee you don't get in trouble with the IRS or your state taxation authorities. And your CPA is going to recommend this.
You can't be talking about paying quarterly estimates the first time.
No, not that. That's part of it. Don't cheat on your taxes. There, that's it.
Well, yeah, I thought that was common sense. I didn't know that had to be said.
You'd think so, but women think fat is beautiful or something nowadays. So, we live in different times, Chad.
We very much do.
Right. Because you had clients like, the low tax guy got elected. What are the tax consequences of moving overseas? Like, okay, you got those people to deal with. And logic does not seem American strength right now.
I guess I would have respected those emails a lot more if they all just didn't state, "Oh, you know, the election, I want to leave." That's the part that bothered me most. Not, I'm all for planning if you want to do that, but don't tell me that. Just say you want to go abroad and you want some points.
They have nothing else. It's like straight people who fake not being straight. They have to tell you their made up gender that they claim they have. That's the, you know, Chad, how can you tell who the pilot in the room is?
The pilot in the room is?
Yeah.
How?
How can you tell who the pilot in the room is?
Oh, well, he's wearing the what?
This is an old joke. This is okay. All right.
Oh,
Don't worry, he'll tell you.
Oh, okay, one of those.
How do you tell who the feminist in the room is?
Oh, don't worry.
Don't worry. How do you tell who the libertarian in the room is? Who you've met in Vegas before?
Oh my God.
Don't worry, he'll tell you.
Oh, he'll tell you. All right. God. Atham, if you're still in the chat, we'll have a good laugh about it.
Okay, now hold on. Okay. If you didn't know that line of jokes, tell me you know this line of joke. What do you call a drummer without a girlfriend?
A drummer without a girlfriend.
You don't know these. Homeless.
Homeless. Okay, I was close.
But you can. What do you call a guitar player without a girlfriend?
A welfare recipient.
Homeless.
Okay.
The whole point is you could swap out any musician. Yeah. The joke still plays. All right. Well, this is what happens when you drink funny beer, apparently.
This is actually a normal one, believe it or not. All right. I'm ready for super chats, but any final thoughts about this material? I mean, it's dry.
I think the vast majority of people are not going to get up above 126,000, let alone significantly above 126,000, where you would have to now start employing these tactics. Also, if you're going to expat, I mean, that is more of a cultural issue where you got to go overseas, find out where you're going to belong, like Matt Forney, our friend Matt Forney has done. That's a long-term Andrew Henderson type of exploration. Then you worry about tax complications and things like that afterwards.
Yeah.
And the quickest way not to have tax complications is to pay your taxes.
Yeah.
Then you're done.
Incidentally, I chatted with Forney the other day. He's going to move back to the U.S. in
Is he?
2025. Yeah. He's
really?
had enough of the, I won't say where he is, but he's had enough of that country. So.
Really? I'd love to have him on because he has gone on truly. Everyone gave him shit 10 years ago as being this fat loser. And the dude did it. He did at least 10 years overseas and successful writing, never collected money from his parents or the government. So you got to hand it to the guy. He's come a long way.
And he really scrubbed himself off the internet too. So,
yeah.
All righty, let us do some super. Last thing. So if you do want to go abroad, the best thing you can do is set up a state residency with no income tax. Be a freelancer and just keep your net income below $126,500, and then you're
1099 superior race. There you go. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of superior,
Chase Robodo. Now, what do we get, Chad? If you get $10 super chats?
I was going to tell a really funny recent update about cuddle wookums, but we didn't even come close. We didn't come close.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Chase Robodo, $5. Trying to get a head start on my 2027 taxes. What's your fee? Just sending some support, fellas. Nothing like off season.
2027. Yeah. That's, what is that? 3? I think by then I'll have set something like, yeah, go ahead.
Can I make estimated tax payments into future years?
Actually, I know you're trying to be funny right now. I think they're going to let you do that on the IRS webpage.
Would that just agitate the hell out of you?
It would more confuse and disappoint me than anything. I don't understand why you would. I don't like what you're doing now, but I do get it because I know you like to make lists, and it feels good to cross things off the list.
Yes.
And you know what? With interest rates lowering now, it makes a little more sense. So.
ET $10. Now, does this count as a $10?
Yeah.
I was going to say it counts as a $10. Good evening, gentlemen. Do you recommend setting up a business checking account at a local small bank or a larger bank? Thanks as always. I don't have a real clear cut. I got leanings, but you?
I'll tell you. So I bank with Chase, and yes, Chase is sort of the big bad, huge bank.
They hate white people.
Yeah. It's very convenient. There's one across the street from where I live here. There's one close to, my Southern Command and the candidate's place. I think they have reasonable minimums. Like you have to keep $2,000 minimum in your business checking account at all times. And you won't get charged any fees. And you can Zelle yourself between your personal and business bank account whenever you want to. So I got to say, I kind of like the bigger box ones, but I haven't. What about you? Do you?
As long as they have online banking and it works, the user interface is usable, I'm okay with it. I hate the large banks because they got bailouts. I hate small banks because they're managed by incompetent fuckwits. You can find maybe a regional bank, but I don't have any. I mean, they're not. None of them is. Oh my God, I recommend this bank, and you should all bank there. As long as you don't need an ATM, and like you have to go in on person, I think as long as you got online banking and it works well, that is what I would be looking for. But it's a devil either way.
I used to bank with USAA, and they're fine. Credit union. My dad was in the military, so I qualified for it. I just got tired of the fact that there were never any ATMs. I mean, yes, they would reimburse the ATM fees, but I just like having an ATM at a bank that I'm dealing with.
PI, $2. Hey guys, just popped in question. Why is Red Hawk goofy?
Goofy, crazy,
it's weird, crazy. Why is Red? I don't know if he's crazy.
I don't think Red Hawk's crazy. Yeah, let's see. I've met Red Hawk 3 times now. He's crashed on my couch actually. No, he's not. He's really.
He doesn't strike me. I mean, maybe a little nerdy, but not even that nerdy. Just kind of.
Well, I think he seems to have a lot of fun on Twitter. He and Nuke. In various pockets.
That's an art. That's not who they are. I mean, you got to admit, Nuke has got that down, man. He's got some.
He is a master. Like I was going to
sniper. He just hits them.
I was about to go to sleep last night, and for some dumb reason, I get on my phone and I'm looking at X. Like I stayed up another like half an hour watching him just like go back and forth with this one feminist, and then he did it on some other. Yeah, Nuke knows what he's doing.
Arturo Galindo, $2. He has nothing to say. He just says hello.
I've done a consultation with Arturo before. He is in a good spot. He's kind of going the Parker and Red Hawk route, so he's
good.
Just fine.
Good. ET, 10 generous dollars. Does it make sense to get business liability insurance from a different company than my auto insurance? My car is being used for business travel, standard mileage, but is registered as personal. I don't know. I guess I would go with the same company because you get a discount. After dealing with American Family, I'm assuming all insurance companies are going to be a pain in the ass if they got to pay you out. So I'm honestly, because liability insurance is so cheap, I'd almost get it at 2 different, like get a primary, then a backup.
Well, so my liability insurance is through the AICPA, and you and I both don't like the AICPA, but they do offer actually a pretty good insurance, a professional liability insurance plan if you are a CPA. So I've just gone with them the whole time. I haven't had any issues. Where'd Clary go? Oh, there he is.
You just scratched my leg.
I don't think it makes any difference. Just find the good plan that meets your budget.
Yeah.
One thing I'm jealous of you about is you don't have to get professional liability insurance, do you?
No, I don't. No, there's a big old disclaimer, everyone. When you send me an email, you agree to a terms of service that, like, did you see this?
Yeah, the LLC covers you fully on that one.
Dong is fun, $2. How do you know if someone's vegan? They'll tell you, vegan, libertarian,
Yeah. That's actually all we've got.
Dang it. I wanted the world to hear about cuddle. I guess maybe next time you'll have to do it.
I'll do it next time, and I'll set a more realistic goal. Man, you guys are missing out because this is really freaking
They are
funny.
missing out. It's funny. It'll get out. Maybe the situation will evolve to where it's even more funny.
This is like, you have to be incredibly delusional to think that what she's doing now is going to succeed. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
It's just great. Yeah. But let's say, Chad, she wanted to succeed, right? Is there a field that people could go into without spending 6 years in college and $180,000 on credits where you could, and with the ability to not only be self-employed but remotely employed? Is there a field that has a shortage? Is it a desk where you could charge a very handsome wage and not choke and probably make over 6 figures within 2 to 3 years?
So there is for everybody else, but not her, because she's terrible at math.
Right. Okay, but not her.
Not her. Yeah.
Not her. But for any other normal human being.
There's absolutely
there's a field?
There's a field in my industry, as a matter of fact. It's the accounting field.
Wow, accounting. Boy, but let's say I don't know anything about the accounting field and wouldn't know where to begin. Is there a map or a guide or perhaps even a course that teaches me on how to navigate a career in accounting?
Yes. Hold on.
Okay, here we go. He's got the Gatorade out.
As a matter of fact, I stumbled upon this course at one point, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. Oh yeah, the world's greatest accounting career.
That is the best one you've done by far. By far. You actually are excited about it. You actually care.
I'm a happy guy these days. Clary, I get to leave this place on Monday, and I don't have to come back until January. So, hey.
Nice. Well, I'm glad that. See, the other one's the world greatest accounting career. Like that, like, no, that's like going to church. Like you're endorsing church, you can go get yelled at. This one, you're excited. People are. Chad, do you get girls in the accounting profession? Like if I become an accountant, will I get the girls?
So that's the accounting part alone will not get you the girls,
right?
But what you can get from being an accountant, meaning self-employment, confidence and being able to make your own schedule plus good money, that could possibly get you the girls.
That could incidentally lead to getting the girls.
Right. I mean, between you and me, I think your best bet is just become friends with a YouTuber who has like female friends.
I have gotten you laid many times. Yes, that is true. Yeah. But if they want to become an accountant, where do we find the world's greatest accounting career course, aside from an obvious YouTube or Google search?
So as I do on every episode of the Elkins Accounting Hour, I link in the description. And now it is an affiliate link, so I do get a cut of this. But you know what? If you don't use that link, just get the course either way, because if you want to get into this, I mean, now is the time to get into this. I may not say that 3 or 4 years from now.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
I think it's going to be long. Dude, they're just, I looked at people majoring in accounting. It's going down. It's not going up. There's going to, I think the trades in accounting are pretty good. But the added reason people might want to use the link down below is in it being an affiliate link. Do I get to keep all the money?
You get to keep 75% of the money.
So Chad steals 25% of my money. My money. 25% goes to Chad. So if you want to smite me, you use the affiliate link down below.
Yes. Clary usually gets his, cappy tax on this. We were a little light today, but
that's fine.
We'll do better next time. I'll tell you what, you guys, for the next stream, probably next week, well, it's Thanksgiving, but whatever the next stream I do is, I'm going to set a more realistic goal about this whole Cuddlebooks thing. And when Clary and I get off the air, I'm going to show him
$100?
Oh, no, not $100. We'll go lower than that.
No, but I think 100 would be a goal, don't you think?
Oh, 100 total? Yeah, we could probably.
You said 10 tens, right?
I did, but the way they do it, and I got to calibrate this. It doesn't matter if it adds up to 100. It has to be like 10
of 10. Okay, that's weird. They are testing something.
Yeah, I screwed up on that one. I'll do better for the next one because I do want to tell you guys this. It's just fun. So,
have you ever made it where? Oh yeah, that's right. You did have to do a live Q&A. All right, so it did come in. So all right. Yeah. So maybe set it at 50.
50. Yeah, like 5, maybe like 10 $5.
10 fives. I think that would be good. I don't know why they do that instead of like just a number.
I don't know either. It would make more sense if they did that, but I guess they're still testing this thing out.
No,
I don't know. Well, that is all I've got, Mr. Clary. Do you have anything you want to hawk, or besides the course? Anything?
There's the course, and then if you guys want to, I got other courses through that Teachable account. So, by the way, you'll go to Teachable, so you have to sign up for a Teachable account, then you can take that course. But in signing up for Teachable, you can take all the different courses that Teachable offers, whether it's Chad's and my class or mine own or how to raise butterflies or whatever's out there. So Yeah, but there's other courses I got all along the lines of personal financial management, and above, generally the main ones would be getting rid of your addiction to spending, so you don't want money that much anymore. That is the quickest way to financial stability. That's it. When should we hang out?
We should hang out soon.
Soon.